What's up, everybody? Check this out. This what's real. Listen, y'all. I got to do my disclaimer as I always do right about now. This segment was put together as an outlet for friends and the general audience to chat about different concerns, that bother us and opinions and things of that nature, not related always to global situations, but hey, we like to speak our minds and our opinions. Now, this does not affect in any way, have anything to do with our sponsors and, our businesses. So we're just saying a disclaimer that things that we say sometimes just might not be what you want to hear. But again, it does not affect our businesses and our sponsors. Okay, check this out, y'all. I got a good friend of mine. I say everybody my good friend because when they're on this show, they got to be my good friends. Now, I'm going to have to give y'all a little insight about this brother, though. See, if you didn't know, if you ever heard of Olskool Ice-Gre, and if you haven't heard, you're going to find out about him today because that's my man. I got him in the background. He about to come in. Now, I'm going to give a little intro on him. The talented. He's been an artist. He's still an artist. He's an author, entrepreneur, artist manager, artist development. And, do I need to go on, people, just to recognize this brother? Big time names he worked with in LA, but I'm gonna bring him on in. My main man, Ice to the Gree, old school coming in like bam.
What up?
Hey man, listen, man, welcome to the show, man. Thank you for taking a minute out of your busy schedule out there in LA. Because you got that good weather right now. So you could be out and about. We in the rain up here in the shine of Indiana. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's real nice. It's sunny. We got a little breeze, light jacket weather today, but super sunny all the time. So
I'll just
rub that in right there. Real sunny.
That's what you do. That's what you do. Hey man, listen, brother. I really appreciate you, like I said, being on the show, man. We're gonna jump right on in, though, man. People that don't know who Ice-Gre is, Greg. Like I said, we got a lot of history. I'm gonna let him chime in and tell you some of the things. But hey, he grew up in Chicago, y'all. Now Greg, tell him growing up in Chicago. I know you're from the Inglewood area, and
right.
How did that prepare you, for, your life ambitions and the things that you're doing now in life? We ain't told them everything that you're doing, but just give a little insight.
Right. First of all, shout out to home. Chicago South Side is a real place. So pretty much, I would say just like being born and raised in Chicago pretty much prepares, you for life in a way that I would say everybody there is so real. It's a very blue collar city. No one there is, it's not even an entertainment city at all. It's pretty much just, hardworking, family oriented, good people that migrated from the South that settled in the Midwest, big city, crazy folk. You know what I'm saying? So it prepared me for just, being ready for the real, having tough skin, being able to deal with no, and just being able to deal with the different nuances, attitudes, and personalities that come with human beings in the most aggressive way. You know what I'm saying? So, coming from this city, man, coming from the Chi, I should say, you just, you develop, man, just like some really thick skin, and you're able to pretty much make it anywhere. Because across the board, I think everybody would agree, Chicago is a rough town.
Exactly. Hey, the mob ties go deep, So
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Crime runs very deep.
hey, but like you said, this man. I know that helped get you going. So I'm gonna just jump in just a little bit, throw a little anchor at us, like a little crooked road. Now, you went to school down at J State. You see, I'm representing that hat right there, baby.
Yes, sir.
Did J State give you any flavor to help assist into your career endeavors and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, most definitely, because I would say that I would have to definitely credit Jackson State for a whole lot. Jackson State University was everything to me, and just about everybody who was on the yard. But what I can say it credited me most was the socialization factor, man. That was the first place, before I got into dealing with various people and different things in this industry that we're gonna get into that I'm in. I dealt with a lot of personalities, people from a bunch of different cities. You remember, man, everybody was from everywhere, but how we ended up in Mississippi was the big question. How did guys from New York, California, Chicago, Detroit, and even various places in the South, from Tennessee to Georgia, and we all ended up on their yard. So I say Jackson State was the first place to teach me how to network and socialize and learn how to talk to, different people from different places.
Yep, that's it. I mean, now this is the thing that's kind of funny. I had to throw this in there. When you had graduated, there was one of our first gigs that me and let y'all know, like I said, how far we go back. One of our first gigs that me and Greg worked on. Now in school we knew each other. Everybody kind of knew each other on the yard. But me and him really grew on some major player work. Now, this is the thing, y'all. He had just graduated, and what was your internship at? Was that Loud? What records?
Oh yeah, Loud. Actually, it's a story to Loud, which it gets into it in my book. But I went to Loud for a full-fledged publicity position. I was working under a wonderful woman by the name of Noah Ochi, and I was a assistant to the head of publicity.
Wow.
Which end up later turning into what they called a paid internship.
Okay.
What that was, I was receiving money for transportation and food and stuff like that, and that was all because of budget cuts. But I started out as a full-fledged, employee, and unfortunately, it got demoted because of some budget cuts with the label, and I just didn't want to leave, so I hung in. But that's a whole story.
Okay.
Yeah, but which was much later into my, it was a little later into my work.
Okay. So this is the thing. When you came, this is the craziest thing, people. We got together and became even stronger after this certain shoot.
First I was like, where is he going? Okay.
Right. We picked him up. So I was a senior at Jackson State. He had just graduated. He flew in from LA. We met in New Orleans. We had a major shoot for a TV show that him and Mr. Wright, which was the producer, and he was a co-producer, and you was the host.
Yeah, I was hosting. Yeah.
So check this out. Our first show. Tell them who we interviewed, and I was a cameraman.
The show was actually called Rhythm of the World. It was a Caribbean. If people remember Rachel from BET, who had that show Caribbean Rhythms, back then that was the only show that dealt with like world music. And Mr. Wright initially created a show at Jackson State called World Beat, and I hosted it. Like I had the locks down my back, all hanging down. Everybody remember that? And they just thought I had the look. But once they start auditioning for the position, and I went out for it. It was like, whoa, not only does he have the look, he has the personality and charisma for on camera. So that's how I got it. But later it became Rhythm of the World because it was removed from Jackson State's thing and became a serious thing. And what that was we interviewed the legendary Marley, man, and the Melody Makers. That was an experience, bro. You remember that, right?
Exactly. That was like we was talking about that one day. Like they treated us like we was I ain't gonna say gods, but they treated us like we was big time.
Man, dude, we felt so special. You remember how we was like tapping and whispering in each other's ear, like, dude, and that was like one of the first experiences where we were the VIPs without any help. You get what I'm saying? Without any help from another artist or a connection, or like when I worked at Loud, it didn't have anything to do with that. We were the VIPs, like we were their special guests there to interview Ziggy Marley and the Melody Makers from another city or state, and they was just like really treating us so good. It was the fun. We had we had so much fun that day.
Exactly. It was dope. And that's what I'm saying. And that was just the beginning. And folks, like this guy here, I mean, like I said, he's been in the industry for so many years, and people just don't understand and know all the things. He was with Stu Pot Stowaways, one of the founders of Stu Pot Stowaways. That's legendary in the state of Mississippi. Tell them real briefly who out of that Stu Pot that's famous now on the rap side that people might know.
Man, please, like you got David Banner.
No, say it again. What they say?
David Banner. Shout out to my dog, David Banner, man. He was part of that Stu Pot Stowaway thing, man.
Yes, sir.
You had DJ Scrap Dirty, man, another legend in the game, who founded a Violator All-Star DJ. Matter of fact, shout out to Scrap. He was on
yes, sir.
He was on Sway in the morning on Shade 4-5 this morning. Come to think of it, original member of the Stu Pot. And then we even my dude Leo Brown with Leo Collections. dude, he went on to start his clothing line. And that thing, man, he was in every magazine at one time, and all of the VJs, all the way up into JB Smooth, the comedian JB Smooth, which is a very good friend of mine now because of Leo. Used to wear his clothes on all the shows. Every show, JB, from Real Husbands of Hollywood to Curb Your Enthusiasm, he was wearing Leo's designs up to this day. I mean, like to current day,
That's
so.
Dope.
That's just three people. I mean, we had two phases of the Stew Pot Stowaways, and one of the most that I like to give a lot of props to from the original Stew Pot, we had a group called All Natural. That was Tone B. Nimble and Cap D, and Cap D became the general counsel for the Golden State Warriors right now. You know what I'm saying? He's the team's lawyer through all of those championships that Golden State won. Man, that's the Stew Pot Stowaways right there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's what you drop. See, you dropping knowledge and names, man. People would never even understand. Like I said, our association with the people that we know that's doing. I mean, like we doing a little something. We ain't gonna.
Well, Cap D, let me say Cap D's name that they know now is David Kelly. He's David Kelly now. He's Cap D to me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Listen, man. And see, the people like we said, David Banner come from that, and his real name is Lavelle Crump.
Yeah, Lavelle Crump.
Lavelle Crump.
A lot of people down in Southern remember his campaign when he ran for actually won for SGA president. It was called Crump Tight. I went down there during the campaign to support my boy. Crump Tight was the name. Right.
Oh my God, man. Listen, bro. That's what I'm talking about, man. So check this out. That's the little history for now. It bringing you up to speed. So people, check this out. How was it now since you work with artists at a younger age? When you was a youth, we doing our things. You was rapper. I'm the video director, and I directed David Banner's video, y'all. I didn't even.
Oh man, you did a few people in the stew, man. You did a crazy video for a sister, rest in peace, that was in our crew named Satin. I know when it was called like Snakes in the Grass or something like that. Yeah, Snakes in the Grass. The video was crazy. That was the first time you did a real cool motion where the camera was going through the blades of grass.
You messed me up with that. You remember that, huh?
Yeah, we thought that was pretty fresh. He was like, okay, Cooley ain't playing with this video thing. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Hey, man, it's a blessing, man. But so now, with all this, from then to now, how did that, prepared you now? You're working with major artist development, and you was a part of developing Big Sean. What was that like to some of the other artists?
Man, see, okay, so that you saying that as a springboard, man. Listen, it was the perfect springboard because the Stew Pot Stowaways were so many personalities. Like, the meaning behind it was in a stew pot, you have a lot of different vegetables, and then you have a little meat in there. And for us, the meat was a brother from Flint, Michigan named CT the Decapitator. He was like our hardcore, but he was still super hip hop. But just his lyrics were more street rooted. The rest of us, we were very eclectic and kind of, very hip hop, real leaders of the new school, kind of hyper De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest type of vibe. And that's why we called ourselves the Stew Pot, because we were saying it's so many flavors in a stew. You know what I'm saying? And the stowaway came from, it was Stew Pot Stowaway, because our whole meaning from the beginning was we stowaways of this hip hop thing. Like, this is going to be what we attach ourselves to and get a ride to the top. So we became the Stew Pot Stowaways, and that was just a little history. But just to say how it connected, man, dealing with all those personalities and various types of music, everybody had their own sound. No stab. But kind of stab at now. The only thing I dislike about now is everybody sound the same. All from the music to even their cadence and the choices of delivery they use in their raps. Everybody, I don't know. It's like 3 or 4 artists. I don't know who I'm listening to because they all. With the Stew Pot, dude, like nobody could sound the same, and we battled each other. So I would say like being in that Stew Pot thing was like it was almost like being in like a hardcore training camp before you get into the NBA. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would credit it as, like training.
So it sounded like a Wu-Tang. You was like a Wu-Tang. You was a Wu-Tang before the Wu-Tang.
I can't remember. Yes, we were like they in the. It was either rap pages or the source. I can't remember because the group, you know, look, shameless plug. The group was in all the magazines at the time. No, but like we really were though. But in one of those magazines, Rap Sheet, maybe it was one of them. But the point is, they called us the Stu-Tang Clan. And I remember, never forget the heading. They said the Stu-Tang Clan. Then they said, not to be confused with the Wu. The Stu Pastor would represent for Ole Miss. I thought that was such a dope little. I still remember the headline, and I haven't seen that in years. But
that's dope. Man. So I mean, like with that being said, so when you started developing the different artists,
right,
you just jumped right on in. I mean, like now you got your experience from behind you. How did that like help you propel them with all your experience?
Well, you know, because again, like I was the
go ahead, say it.
The blood, you know, or like I would say I was the RZA of our Wu-Tang Clan. You know what I'm saying? So I was the abbot, so to speak, and I had the information, I had the knowledge and the experience, and I had at that time my group, Abstract Mind State, you know, shout out to EP, we had the most experience at the time, and we had the I guess you could say the most quality material because we were working in big studios before our crew was, because we would go back home and do it. So, so I took all of that, man, and when I really got into the game with all of these major players, I was so groomed and so well informed that I was able to like for example, take Big Sean. You brought up Big Sean. When I was brought on, you know, when I became Good Music, the first A&R at Good Music. Kanye assigned me to Big Sean, and you know his song, My Last, when No ID had like 3 tracks, and he told me, he said, you know, I mean, he pretty much approached it like, you the A&R Ice-Gre, so I got 3 tracks, and I feel like, you know, Sean needs to hit single. The label is, you know, when he said the label, he was talking about Def Jam was like really pressing us to get a hit out of Sean, and it sounds funny because Sean has nothing but hits now, but at the time, you know, he's a Detroit underground spitter, man. You know, Detroit MCs are crazy. Like, you know, I love so many Detroit MCs, and Big Sean was actually the new young gun that Kanye discovered and, you know, gave a shot and gave him a platform. And so I was assigned to him. And you know, I can like boldly say, you know, I pretty much like pressed and made that song happen because he wasn't going to record My Last or it wasn't really on his radar. For one, at the time, you know, he'll tell you at the time he wasn't even really didn't really see what it was. But I heard the No ID track out of the 3 that I chose was that one, and I stood on it very firm to the point that I acted a complete fool in the studio. Like, you gotta record this song. You know, this is gonna be the song that make you a household name. It's gonna go number 1 on Billboard. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're gonna get platinum out of this. And I was acting so crazy that day in the studio. Wow. You know, everybody was laughing like this dude is overly passionate, right? So, you know, just to cut through the chase, Sean, you know, when he heard the sample, it was like the new edition, Can You Stand the Rain? He flipped that track. And it was the way it sounded. It was the texture of the music. It was the way No ID chopped it up. I got to give him credit. He chopped it. It was the way it sounded. And I you know, I get this tingle in my ear when I feel like this is the one. It might sound crazy, but that's my little thing. So I was like, Sean, you got to do this. I said, listen, this song was a hit before. It'll be a hit again. Just trust me. Record this song. And he was like, man, I agree. You know, he was like, at the time, it ain't no stab because Sean is incredible. He's one of my favorite rappers now. But he was like, man, I agree. I know New Edition, but I don't know this song. You know, and I was like, just trust me, bro. And I pressed it. But bottom line is, you know, after I left the studio, we was in there all night. The next day or whatever, I didn't show up because we was literally there till the next morning.
Exactly.
And my understanding is, No ID, you know, got him to go ahead and like trust the process and record it. And the next day I came in and they surprised me with the song, and it was a super surprise because Chris Brown was singing the hook.
What?
You know, instead of John, and I just jumped up on the couch and I was like, "Oh, we got it, number 1. We got it, you know." And lo and behold, man, the part that makes me proud about that experience was the song did make him a household name. It did go number 1 on Billboard, and he did get a plaque out of it. So I called that one, and I like to embrace that plaque. That I got my plaque for that, and that one makes me very proud because I called it so detailed, you know. Yeah, man. And the bottom line is connecting the dots. I took the experience of like the days in the studio, you know, with all of the groups in Mississippi, even outside of the stew pot, man. You remember Cooley? My house was like hip hop haven, like or just artist, I could say artist haven. If you sang, if you did hip hop, it was like a rule that you had to come through my crib, you know, and that's where all the creative people hung out, and everybody came there, man. And our artists developed and helped everybody out. So I was already ready for situations like the Big Sean situations, you know, because there's a couple of more situations with him that he would say, oh yeah, I remember that, Greek, you know, old school is responsible. Like, I remember that Kanye was telling him about expanding his lyrics and stop talking about certain topics. I pulled him out the room and I said, Sean, how did you meet Kanye? And he said, oh, I never told you that story. I said, no. He was like, well, you know, and he told this great story about his mom being in acting class with Denzel and this and that, which I heard him tell that story in an interview before, but this is pre him being interviewed because he wasn't established enough to be getting interviews. The point is, he told me that story. I said, well, how come that's not a song? He was like, well, I wrote one verse, blah, blah, blah. I said, let me hear it. And he spit the verse. I said, dude, save that rap for Kanye. Because Kanye at the time was getting upset. Like, man, you got to talk about more than just girls and you know, and material stuff and this and that. Man, you got to. And when I said, say that rhyme for Ye. Say that one. He was like, for real? I was like, trust me. Say that rhyme. Ye happened to walk out the door. We was in Jim Henson Studios out here in L.A. And man, Ye, I mean, he spit that rhyme for Ye, and Ye was like, "That's what I'm talking about. That's it, boy. Them the kind of." And man, Sean looked at me and he smiled and he like picked me up. He was like, "Man, thanks, old school." You know, what I'm saying? It's all good, you know. And I never forget. I came back in the room and Ye looked at me and said, "Man, how'd you get him to say that rap?" And I looked at him and I, you know, being me, we had to start sarcastic style of joking and da da da. He's like, how you get that out of him? I said, man, the same way I get it out of you. And he just started laughing like, okay. And then he said, and then the light bulb went off. I said, man, who's the A&R of good music? At this time, good music was this established label with no end. I said, who's the A&R? He said, man, nobody. I said, that's what I want to do. You know, he was like, straight up, you serious? I said, yeah, bro, the same thing I did with Sean. I want to be there for the up and coming artists. He was like, man, let's talk about it. It's yours, bro. Let's work out the logistics. Holla at Don C and G Robeson, and let's get the logistics. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And there I became the first A&R good music, bro, just like that.
Dude, that's dope. So I mean, can you just go back right quick? I mean, in between that, how did you and Kanye meet? Oh
man, listen. So me and Kanye. Okay, that funny story with he and I. We initially met at you know, shout out to Cooley of Cooley and Chike, you know, Creative Control, 100. If you're from Chicago, you know that was one of our staples in the video live video. Cooley used to be a host himself. Now he's a decorated film director, you know, with a lot of awards.
My man, anyway, Cooley, shout out to Cooley.
You know, shout out to Cooley. And so Cooley, man, was driving a Source van. It was the same summer that the Abstract Mind State, my group, had won the WGCI music seminar. For those who don't know, WGCI is considered our big station. Is GCI still the #1 station at the crib? Is that how it goes? I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. It's the station for 100 years. And became the Home Jam Artist of the Year, which was like a really big thing to be when you won their at their music seminar. You became like the top local group in the city. That's what we became, and we get to perform at this joint. So because of that, we won this contest and we won all this money and stuff like that, and we won all this studio time. So we recorded the album. Bottom line is, Cooley was doing promotions for the Source this summer, and he used to drive the Source truck. Do you remember when the Source had the promotional truck? He used to be riding around the city. That was Cooley. Yeah, that was Cooley driving that truck, and they had all this music in there and everything.
Wow.
And they said, hey man, Cooley said, yo, we had just finished the album and we was just sitting on it. We wasn't releasing it yet. And he said, man, can I get an advance copy so I can play it in the truck this summer? And a light went off like, oh, that's an outstanding idea. He said, I promise I won't get the music to anybody. I just want to play it in the Source truck as we do all of our promotional stops and all my driving around. I said, bro, yes, Cooley, yes. I trusted him. We had a good relationship. Cooley was actually on our first album doing a comedy skit. So I was like, yo, definitely. Gave him a copy of the album. Now, what ended up happening was the Source came to town. And of course, if the Source is in town and Cooley is driving the Source truck, they got the Source truck there. Well, we were at this clothing store. It was called Crew Sports, K with a K, K-R-E-U, K-R-E-W. It was two. It was about the twins. It was the twins. They had a couple of stores, but their specific store was Stony Island. Do you remember the clothing line? I forget the name of the clothing line. I'm sorry, it slipped my mind. But they were doing a shoot for this clothing line. I forget the show. And Kanye was the up and coming producer at the time. Producer, not the up and coming rapper. He was the up and coming producer. He was hot. He had got on a few big records at this time, and they was doing a shoot for the Mecca. That was the clothing line.
Oh yeah.
Mecca. So he was doing a shoot for Mecca clothing line, and it was going to be a spread the source. So Cooley had the truck pulled in the middle of the island, because you know how Stony Island is. It's that middle part, then it's the streets on both sides. He pulled the truck up on that middle thing, and he had the music blasting, and all the music was just something to like keep the vibe good while they do this photo shoot. Well, the person being shot was Kanye West. I'm not friends with him at this time. But Crew Sport has me up there because we're important in the city. We're like, at this time, Abstract Mind State is like the top group in the city. And he we was cool with the guys at Crew Sports. They took care of us. They threw us clothes. They, anything we wanted to do, we hung out in the store. They promoted all our music, everything. So Crew said, man, we're going to have a source in town. Come up here, Ice-Gre. You and EP need to hang out. EP couldn't make it, so I went on my own. Man, while the photo shoot was going on, the music was playing, and I'm watching Kanye. I don't know him, but I know who he is now. Don't get it twisted. But I wasn't like his boy. I mean, I'm one of my best friends now. But the dude was bobbing his head, and I saw him point to Cooley. He pointed to the truck, and he was like, I saw his mouth. He said, like, who is that? And Cooley said, man, that's Abstract Mind State. And then he said, oh, okay. So then he posing, blah, blah, blah. He going through about 3 more shots, and another song came on. And he stopped. One thing about Ye that everybody know about him, man, his ear, man, he hears the music. Like, nothing gets in the way of him hearing the music. So he was like, another song came on. He said, who is this? Because it's like 2-3 songs later, but he didn't know this was the whole album. So he was about to hit like 17 songs. He just didn't know that. And he was like, who is this? And 3 songs later, and Cooley said, that's Abstract Mind State. So to make this, shorten it up, he went through that about 3 times, and then Cooley just pointed to me across the street because I was looking at the photo shoot. He said, man, him, yeah, that's him. And so, and Ye just walks out of the photo shoot, walks across the street right up to me, face to face, and he said, man, how come y'all never worked with me? Wow. And I'm just like, I said, man, because I know who you are. You cost too much. And he said, well, how you know I won't work it out for a dope nigga from the shop? I said, man, act like it. He said, take my number. I said, all right. And we exchanged numbers, man. And that led to us working on a song for, it wasn't actually for our album. It was for what was supposed to be. Do you remember the HBO series Oz?
Yeah.
It was about the prison thing. That was one of the first realistic shows or whatever. But the point is, Oz was doing a soundtrack. It was a company out here in LA. And it was funny because the A&R at this label that only used to do like movie soundtracks and stuff like that. They his name was Eric B. It was so hilarious because he was like a white dude with a black voice, man, but he was from New York, so he had the New York accent and he sounded black. So at the time, Eric B. and Rakim wasn't doing that at the time. And when I reached out to this company about submitting music to for the soundtrack, when he got our demo, he liked it and he said, man, could y'all create some music, for this Oz thing we about to do? What? I was like, oh, of course we can, like that. And when I said, what's your name? He said, Eric B. Dude, I thought I was talking to Eric B. from Eric B. and Rakim. I was all excited because I'm like hearing a thick New York accent and he just sound black.
You talking to Eminem?
I was like, man, I'm talking to Eric B. And I'm telling EP, like, man, Eric B. wanted us. He the A&R for this label in LA. It was called Avatar Records. That was what they would call Avatar. And Avatar Records, man. And so that was when I said, you know what, this is a good time to work with that boy Kanye because He hot to death. And if this is a soundtrack opportunity, man, we wanted to give his track. We honestly felt like when we used him, we wanted it to be a really nice platform. That's how we felt. And what really bonded me and Kanye, man, was, and he told me this, and it felt good. He said, man, you know, y'all was the first group to actually pay me a real amount for my production from a local group. Because local groups then only had a couple hundred to give him. Let's just say we gave him, like at the time, we gave him what was considered a real amount for a track. You know what I mean? But we had the money because we have been winning those contests. You know what I'm saying? So the money was there for us to spend a couple grand, you know what I mean, for one track. It's a big deal then. Because $1,500 was the average, you know, 1,015 was the average back then, you know. So that right there built me and Kanye, man. We never let each other go after that. We stayed in touch almost every other day after that, till all the way up to today. You know what I'm saying?
You know, like tell the people real quick, briefly about you was responsible from your end. You know, when y'all did Jesus Walk, how was that? You had to come. Remember, you had to fly in and grab everybody.
Right. You know, it's funny. Like, I forgot about that. Okay, so Jesus Walks had 3 videos. It was Jesus Walks 1, 2, and 3. And Cooley and TK, you know, once again, the now infamous and famous and very, you know what I'm saying, documentarians of the year, Cooley and TK did one of the Jesus Walks video. Well, all of this happened real fast. He was just in Chicago. Like, I think on another documentary, I saw Cooley tell a story of how fast Kanye wanted to make that happen. And just recently I saw that. And what wasn't told was, Ye was like, man, we need a church. You know what I'm saying? Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
When I grew up, my family, it's this church called New Friendship Missionary Baptist Church on 71st, right off Green. You know, rest in peace to Pastor Simmons. I just found out not long ago, Pastor Simmons passed away a short time ago.
Man, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, for sure. But my family is deep rooted in that church. So I had like direct access to the pastor. So man, I made like a couple of calls and I'm on the phone with Pastor Simmons, like, yo, Reverend Simmons. I say, Reverend Simmons, can we hey, this is you know what I'm saying? This is Jackie's son. You know, she's like, hey boy, how you doing? What's going on? You know, I heard you're doing big things. I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm doing my thing. And listen, you know, the artist Kanye West, you know, because at this time, you know, he's huge because he's at Jesus Walks now. So Through the Wire and All Falls Down has been out. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just, I'm like, man, listen. I said, man, Kanye needs a church, bro. You know, I'm working with him, and we need a church to shoot this video. He said, no problem, man. Whatever you need. Who do you need? You want me to you need my son Tony to, you know, you need him, you know, because he was talking about, and funny, he said that. I said, actually, yeah. So his son, Tony Simmons, because his name is Reverend Everett Simmons, Tony Simmons played the pastor in the video. As well as a sister that's close to our family named Bonnie Clark, who became a pastor at the church as well, you know, Pastor Buddy Clark. And Bonnie was in the video as well. She was doing all of the jumping up and down and preaching in the video. When you see the scene that's in black and white, where it's these pastors patting Kanye and he dabbing his head and all that, that was all at my church that I grew up with. So I was like, definitely extremely instrumental in securing that in the last minute, securing that peace, because it all made sense once we had a church. You get what I'm saying? It's Jesus, we needed a church. So, you know, that's just a piece that not many know how instrumental I was in just making that whole piece happen right there, you know. And man, we was a dope team, man. We did whatever we had to do to make it happen. And you know, Cooley, you know me, man. I've always been resourceful. I've touched a lot of people. So I'm definitely that guy who could just pick up the phone and make a couple of calls and get something done. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I mean, you know, this is the thing. Like I said, I just wanted to give a brief history so people to know your not just your how deep you were into the game. You still as deep in the game now. You know, just to bring it current. You know, people, this is one of Kanye's, I want to say, right-hand man. The things that they're doing now, I mean, if you want to elaborate on it, he gave y'all the pass. You know, now this is they doing big things.
Yeah, man. I work with Kanye to this day, man. You know, I was, you know, fortunate enough to be one of the first calls when he came up with the whole concept for Sunday service. You know, I'm a confidant. I'm like considered one of, you know, a close friend or a best friend. I'm a creative collaborator. Like, you know, to this day, like I collaborate with him on different musical things, you know, and he always you know, he respects my ear. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I like to like kind of raise my shoulders a bit, like I got an ear, I got a dope ear, you know, and Kanye feels that way too, because at one point in time, when he was just coming back from remember, you know, the whole like bad year he had with the breakdown and all of that stuff that was on stage and all the public watched that. Well, a little bit after that, when he and I reconnected, one of the things he wanted to do at the time was start a radio station, and he made me the program director. You know, it didn't happen, but I just had to say that piece to show you how much he trusts my ears with music. So, you know, he wanted me to program what was going to be something called like Yeezy Radio or something like that, you know, and I was going to be the program director. And, you know, that just kind of puts it all in perspective of just how much the camaraderie is between me and my brother, you know what I mean? And how real it is. And man, I was a part of the, it's funny because I didn't know this till a little while ago, but if you can actually Google the Wyoming sessions, and everybody knows about the Wyoming sessions. That was when we first discovered that area. I have to say Kanye discovered it, just brought us along. And that's where, you know, the Pusha T album, the Tiana Taylor album, the Kids See Ghosts album, the album that was called Yay, and it was one more Nas's album. You know, that last Nas album. We recorded all of that in Wyoming. When I say when I tell you I was all involved in all of that, like, I mean, like, you know, one of the most magical moments was me really getting to sit down with Nas, with Esco during that time, and just really like talk to him about things that, as an artist and a fan of this music, things I always wanted to know about his career. So, man, the relationship with me, it's a brotherhood with me and Kanye right now. But I will say this. That relationship or that brotherhood has allowed me to sit with some of the biggest, brightest, best in doing it in music, not just hip hop. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I think on my Instagram, just like a year or so ago, Valentine's Day, you know, I got to hang out and kick it with Kenny G in the studio. You know, because, you know, because he was on the Jesus is King album. You know. So yeah, man. So you know that's who I am, man. From then to now, I'm still heavy in it, you know.
Dude, listen, man. You, like I said, you know, your history is definitely being brought to the light now, man. Which is funny is, man, you know, I had a surprise for you. I was gonna have a caller come in, man, but you know, I said instead of having a caller come in, man, I thought like, man, let me just like do this to you, baby. You know, let me just bring the caller in, fam. And just
breathe.
Is that the Dunzilla?
Hey, listen, y'all.
Is that my bro, Big Dunzilla?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listen.
Hey, let me tell you something, man. The brother, you know, I know he big Drew Kirkland on the professional side, but I'm just gonna say that grab right there. You grab for life to me.
All day long.
Hey, Cooley. You know.
Yeah,
Grab has been out to the crib, baby. We could do what we had a Super Bowl party here or something like that.
Yes, sir.
We got it in. Hey, grab the, you know what I mean?
The last Super Bowl I seen.
It was good to see my brother right there, man. That's my man.
Yes, sir.
No doubt.
Hey, we got a lot of stories, man. Me and Grab, man. You know, we original heads from the crib. You know, I was there when you know he was recording his first album that Kanye produced most of it. Am I correct?
No doubt. Yeah.
First album, and I was there sitting in the studio, you know, with Andy C and all that. You know, we deep rooted, man. This is a dope little sneaky in call right here.
Yeah. You know how we do, man. You know how I'm about the biggest ninja. You know I slide up on you.
Right.
I slide up on you, man.
Right.
When I came to LA, I slid up on y'all.
Right.
Listen, man.
How did this happen, man? What is going on?
Hey, listen, man. I had to sneak this in because you know what, you guys. So let me let the people know real quick, real briefly. This is my cousin Gravity, His name is Andrew Kirkland, famous in what he does. I'm gonna let him talk about it a little bit too. But actually, he's gonna be on the show later. This is a surprise, though. But the thing of it is that we found out that we were relatives after his grandfather had passed about a few years ago. And the thing of it is, we never knew each other. What was funny is the guy in the middle, of course, Ice-Gre, knew both of us.
Yeah, I mean, both of y'all was my mans. You know what I'm saying?
And so us not knowing each other, he was the go-between. But go ahead.
We knew a few of the same cats. I thought it was crazy that we had never crossed paths. That shit was bananas.
Yeah, right. I'm sure, because once y'all start chopping it up, Cooley know everything.
Right. You know the whole Jackson crew.
Yeah.
You know the Jackson crew. And it was like name after name after name.
Look.
Yo, how do we not know each other? But
man, that's kind of crazy. Cooley on here playing. Look, he on here playing host of his show right now, like he not a vet himself. You know what I'm saying? That's the dude. While you playing host around here, you're a super veteran in this whole film and video thing yourself. You know?
How you been, man?
Oh man, I'm great, man. Out here enjoying the sun, man. Dealing with this whole Corona thing is a little strange because it's so nice outside, bro. And all that sun. Us melanated people, man. That sun is,
About that vitamin D. I know. You want that D3. Yes, sir.
You was here, But I'm great, man. I'm super good. Man.
Good. Everybody looking good. I love to see everybody and everybody be looking good. It's a beautiful thing.
Man, thank you.
Because everybody just, you never know how folks going to end up later on in the whole nine. And it's just like every time I see somebody, everybody look good, man. And that leaves you in a real good space.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You still looking like the Dunzilla. You ain't looking like it's bad times. It ain't bad times at all now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We all blessed, man. We all been blessed to be able to stay creative and just live in like a quality love frequency and a quality love energy.
Yeah,
every time you come back to the people that you tight with, that energy is right there. Everybody it's like you don't really skip a beat, which is a beautiful thing.
Matter of fact, am I correct in saying, like one time you came out because you dipped out here a couple of times, and one time you touched base and was like, I want to get to Sunday service, and we.
Well, actually, that when I came, it was around last year, end of January, February.
Right.
And I actually was the first time I had been there, but I stayed for a while. So when I
came, you stayed. So
I stayed for a while. So I came to the one Sunday.
You got at me about Sunday service, right? Didn't you?
Well, I saw you at the one.
At one of them,
At the office Flav.
Right.
And then I was gonna come to the next one.
Right.
But I don't know what had happened. I was trying to set it up, and then they was like it was crowded and this, that, and the other.
Right.
And it was at a spot that I wasn't really sure. And I was staying at this Airbnb Flav in downtown LA. Right. And I was trying to connect with Andy and Extreme.
Okay.
But I couldn't, what's name? Like it was, how early in the morning the show was.
Yeah.
So as I'm waiting for calls back and shit, the day just kind of went on, and then how that shit go. But yeah, man. The Sunday service was so butter too, man. It was wild,
man. Good vibes, right?
Oh my gosh, let me tell you, to keep it 100. When I was sitting there, man, I had to try to hold back the tears because when
Hey, Cooley, hold on. Keep talking about Cooley.
And listen,
tell him, keep talking.
It was another, and I was having like a double whammy because one, I'm just a musical dude. So when when that love frequency is resonating at a certain level, it's going to move you a certain way anyway. But on top of it, I was referencing the very young Ye. Right. And I was referencing the same kid that I had met outside of the Park West and was on the couch and all that. And this dude was as passionate. I saw the same kid. It was like like everybody doesn't have those reference points, obviously, because they don't have those experiences. But as I was looking at him, it was just like, people really just don't understand how this dude really is
man.
what he's saying he is. They know it's amazing that when a young black man resonates a particular level of energy, it's amazing the pushback they can get from talking about it or living in it. Like people, we conditioned to not accept living or being that large and so we don't know how to appreciate it. But I was just caught up in how much he was really there. You know what I'm saying? It was really a beautiful thing, a really beautiful experience.
I want to definitely speak to a couple of things you brought up. The emotional part, like, bro, like, first of all, as an artist, I always say I have emotional eyes, meaning like if music starts feeling too good to me, my eyes get watery, and I can't even control it. And people are like, this fool is even a cry, like, like, is he even a cry over the music? But that happens to me because I say I have emotional eyes, meaning like I'm not necessarily crying, but the music is touching me in a way, or it can be like a feeling or a story or a good time, and if it hit my body a certain way, when you're a higher self person, when you're not dealing with
no doubt.
Now you know what I'm saying, and that thing just hit my eyes, man, and they get watery over like happy times, good times, great feelings, and man. Several times, man, in Sunday service, boy, when I tell you, I'm taking them short breaths like on what was it, Harlem Nights, when dude was locked in the thing. He like, I'm trying not to cry. You know what I'm saying? This time it's bigger than emotional eyes. Like, yo, this thing is touching me. You know what I'm saying?
No
so
doubt.
I wanted to say that about Sunday service, and then the other thing is about just talking about his passion, man. It's funny, man, for me, and you know what it is, man. And another thing, Cooley, Grav was there. He see the camaraderie, me and Ye. It's just this brotherhood, it is what it is. But the point is, man, the brother, man, I don't think he's gonna definitely be one of those people that they not gonna get it till much later. Because the brother is so passionate, you would think, like, even with the Sunday service thing, you would think that he's still trying to, like, get on. Am I right in saying that, Grab? Like, the level of passion looks like he's still trying to, like, prove something or get on. And he is the Michael Jackson of this whole thing right now.
No doubt. What for me, like, when I'm looking at his journey, this brother is creating spaces that are like, he's not like trying to, what's dope is he's not trying to like mend up things that are broken. He's creating new situations to create new experiences, to create new definition of where we are, who we are, referencing who we are, but where we might be going. Because we have this problem of sitting in the past in a particular manner. Like, if you don't reference the past, then you can't form the future properly. Let's be clear about that. But you gotta be careful about how you exhaust energy. You must exhaust equal or more energy on moving forward as well. You have to do that. And a lot of us don't know how to do that. So I always digest his movement as that. You know what I'm saying? I always digest his movement as that. Again, we have a different vantage point because we might understand some things or have seen some things that other people haven't seen. But sometimes you hope that people can, like, reference who you are, and if you are thinking in that way, maybe they can step back and take a look at his situation through some different eyes. Because you got to look at things through different eyes to see things different. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you've been dealing with money all of your life, to have a greater understanding of money, you must look at money differently than you've been looking at it. You have to know new things about it so that you can apply new logic, so you can practice new practices based on the new way you look at it. And we have a problem developing, new ways of looking at things.
Hey, I tell you this. I've learned, and Cooley, and speaking on, like, me as a artist developing into an entrepreneur and a businessman, behind the scenes guy, used to be artist. I mean, I've learned so much from Ye's growth in the different chambers that he's gone through. Like, for example, a good thing for me to bring up now would be some like, because unfortunately, man, I don't know if it'll ever change in our lifetime, but unfortunately, Black people, we love like dogging each other and pulling each other down, or what's you know what I'm saying? I don't know when it'll ever change. I don't even think we'll see it, but I always have to speak on it because I look at it like we always root for the underdog, but then once the underdog makes it, then we hate it. Then we hate it. And so I say that to say this. People was tripping on like, why is he making a big deal of like about him being a billionaire and being next to him? And I'm specifically talking about what I learned from being around him and the high level of business that he's interacting and involved with, and the amount of people he's taking care of, and the things that he's doing for people that he don't even know, like getting people out of prison and all that cool stuff. It's very necessary that they don't like negate that fact or state that he actually is a billionaire when he actually had hit that before several others. And that's it's not to bring down the other people that hit it, it's to bring him up, because what it does is on his side of things, because people like you and I, Grab, who, like you say, have seen things, everybody don't get to see these things. You don't understand how a person gets to move once that billionaire tag is put on you. Now a level of respect and a whole nother income bracket of people that he can pull together to help some things he's trying to do to actually help us. Because your whole thing is just to inspire our people, help our people, change it. He's not even, I mean, of course, when you get past money, you're past the material. He went through his materialistic phase, but everybody grows. And that's what's funny, man. When we watch people every day on TV or hear them on the radio, we think we know them better than we really do. But man, what TV and the radio does is it freezes time, because a song can play on the radio for 3 or 4 months. If you, in the case of Drake, it'll play for a year. But guess what happened? You know what I mean? But guess what happened within that year? Man, somebody then, the perfect example is I like to use actors. By the time we see a movie, people be like, oh, they done had surgery, or they done. Man, they shot that movie 6 to 8 months ago, almost a year ago. So by the time you see them, they done lost weight, grew a beard, cut off a mustache. You know what I mean? And that's all I'm trying to say is the time of growth, things change in people's lives, and we got to leave room for people to grow. And I'll say, in the spirit of rocking with the homie, man, Cooley, I've grown so much, man, because the level of business and the financial freedom that I've gotten to be. Man, I met what's his name? Stephen Smith, the Black billionaire that paid for all the Morehouse. Man, I stayed at his crib, bro. Like, who gets to do these things? Right. Man, like, chop it up with him and have a like a little one-on-one moment where we talk.
Kanye friends get to do that.
You know,
hey, Grab. I said Kanye friends get to do that.
Man, and you know what? Bigger than that, man, it's people who, and Grab, you can attest to this. It's people who stay the course. I think it's just people who stay. I just didn't quit, man. You know, shameless plug. I refused to quit. That's the name of my book. I refused to quit. And because of that, I ended up, yes, Kanye was definitely a conduit or one, you know, a mechanism or even a platform for me to experience these things. But it was me not stopping, being relentless and just loving this thing that we all love. It just, as long as I stay in it and grab, I maintain higher self and not dealing with lower self and, you know, evil and, you know, and all those things that come along with, you know, the easy way to get into some craziness in this business, Cooley. I chose a different way, and that's how I ended up here. You know what I'm saying? I had the glow, so to speak, and I ain't like pulling my own chain, but you know, the glow, man, and people like Kanye, like want me around them. It's not me forcing myself around him. It's him not minding my energy in his energy.
You're right, no doubt. You know, G always, you know, you always had a good energy in terms of like, you know, we have, you know, Ye used to, when he was younger, he used to always say, man, people don't give the word good enough credit. I remember him saying that all the time. He's like 18. He's like, man, good is good, man. And then so when he came up with good music, I knew where that came from. I thought I was like, yo, that's real funny. The truth of the matter is people don't realize the power in something. And I think something that G always was able to do is like, you know, when your smile enter the room, you help raise the vibration of the room.
Right.
Man,
You know what I'm saying? Because you always, you know, you bring we have to be conscious, and people, and black people especially, we feel like we got to be frowning or being serious in a particular way. Like you can be serious, but serious doesn't mean that you can't smile. It doesn't mean that you got to have on the mean mug to make an impression. You know, so you always tap the different frequency at which, of course, allows for a level of balance. And somebody like Ye that's tuned in, you know, he can reference that balancing. He can reference what that contribution is to accommodating balance, you know, in order of things. So I totally can see how that can always work out in general, because you can bring a good energy to the room. And when you're in a room full of us, we need that good energy in a room often, because that good energy is not in the room a lot of times.
That's
you
true.
know what I'm saying?
That's a true thing.
Yeah, for real, man.
And
you
you
know,
know,
I easily can see that.
You use the word balance. You know, I'm a Libra. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. There you go. As my mom's a Libra. My mom is a Libra.
Oh, your mom's is my favorite person right now. Look, and I'm a Libra, and you know, Ye, of course, you know, is a Gemini, and that Gemini Libra thing, man, it's a lot of synergy. You know, you do, you know, y'all, whoever watching, do a little Google thing on Libra energy. Libra Gemini energy, man. The synergy between the Libra and the Gemini is amazing. We have this thing because, you know, I guess it's our balance thing.
Right. You can reference both sides well.
Boom.
You can reference both sides.
Come on, grab me.
Look at
sure, that makes all the sense in the world.
Exactly. This is what I want to do. Hey, people, you know, I'm with the crew. We can go on and on all day because this is good energy. That's what this,
you ain't lying.
We all had this good energy for years, y'all. So, but what I want to say this is that I will have Gravity on the show, and he's going to tell you guys his association with Mr. Kanye West. We're going to save it for another show, but he will be on the show, folks. He has a history as an artist, producer, and he's doing a lot of great things. You've probably heard him on a lot of commercials, but that's enough on his teaser. So before I want Ice-Gre to let y'all know about, he got a book, some things that he's doing. He's
got a lot of man. I appreciate you. Thank you, bro. Thank you for coming.
Hey, man, you know how we do, man. We go back. We gotta get back in that gym together too, player.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? That was a dope.
So I ain't go. You gonna invite me? It's like that.
Cooley, you always welcome, brother. You always welcome. Yeah, but like the book, I got a few things going on right now, man. I refuse to quit. I shamelessly plugged it a little while ago. That's the name of my book, man. It's called I Refuse to Quit, the Autobiography of a Dreamer. Let me tell you what's funny about that book. Earlier, Cooley, you and I spoke about the Big Sean thing and all that, right? When I became the first A&R Good Music. Well, I initially wrote that book 10 years ago. I wrote that book in 2009 when I became the first A&R Good Music and was assigned to Big Sean. So let me tell you what's weird. What album were we on? My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. That was a lot of people who follow Kanye's music know that was the Hawaii session when we went out to Hawaii. Everybody talk about that because Ye kind of changed something in the music business and made a lot of super producers work together. Like Grab, you know how he works. He'll put 2 or 3 of the biggest producers on one track. Like it'll be Timbaland, RZA, and him producing one track, which was really kind of unheard of before the Dark Twisted Fantasy session. I referenced that not to talk about Ye, but to talk about the fact that my book came out exactly when we went to Hawaii to start working on that. And I was the A&R. So of course I traveled, you know, to do my creative input and play my role as an A&R there. And man, we did so much stuff that year that my book, I independently released it and self-published it. Bro, that book came out, I did 0 promotion, 0 marketing, because I just dived in head first in what was my dream job, man. All the way back when I was at Loud working in publicity, my heart really wanted to be an A&R then. So this was like my dream job. So unfortunately, you know, I kind of dropped the ball on my book. So here we are, fast forward 10 years later, I refreshed the book. I added a new chapter, changed the cover. But those stories, what's weird is those stories in that book, which is it's called I Refuse to Quit, the Autobiography of a Dreamer, which is, my story. It's coming soon. The book is coming soon. So anybody watching it, just know that's coming. I'm gonna be doing some heavy online promotions about it. But let's just say, show you how God works. The book, things I'm talking about in the book and using my stories for motivation to encourage others to not give up on their dreams is more important now than it was in 2009 when I did it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You know how they say, some people be like, God got a funny sense of humor, or everything is about timing, and all these different little sayings we can say fits my situation. Like, okay, I wanted that book out in 2009, and although it was released, it wasn't time for the book yet. So it was almost, you feel me?
Right.
It's speaking on some positive energy, wavelength, frequency. It just wasn't time. So I think God let me have what my heart wanted. He let the book come out, but nothing happened. Like he put my mind on something else. So I didn't even work on that book. You feel me? Now here we are in 2020, and I just completed the book, and we're about to put it out within the next 60 days or so. At the most 90, but at the next 60 days, now the book is going to come out. And when I tell you, it's so much more to, I had a lot to share then, but it's so much more to me as a person now, and so much more growth that I feel like now is the perfect time. So now I have to fall back and say, wow, everything is about time. And it just wasn't time then. You know what I mean? So, so Cooley, I was just speaking because you brought up the book. So I have the book going on. And then another one, man, that, I've been keeping under the hat for a very, very, very long time. Another thing that's going on that I've been keeping under my hat for a long time, but, it's not about how big the platform is. It's just about how much heart is put into it. And Cooley, I know you put your heart into this What's Real thing. So I give you a super exclusive that I've never...
World premiere.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to give you an exclusive that I've never talked about at least in almost 2 years, in a year and a half. But Abstract Mind State is coming back, bro. Like, like as grown-ups, like we grown doing this hip-hop thing. And it's an album, man. We recorded a whole album with Kanye.
I heard good things.
Yeah.
You know, I heard
congrats, baby.
Yeah, man. So man. So it's so it's a good time for people to start putting Abstract Mind State in Google and catching up with what we did in the past, so they can really appreciate and understand that. Because there's gonna be a lot of questions like, why is Kanye dealing like? Who are they and why is he doing this? There's gonna be a lot of like, what's the purpose? And then some are like, oh, that's his boy. That's just one of his best friends. He's just trying to put his boy on. No, it's a lot bigger than that. As a matter of fact, I was almost thrown off guard because this idea wasn't mine. It was the brother's idea. He came to me saying, it's time. Like, we need y'all back in the market. Like, and I'm like, what? And I'm not gonna lie. I'll be honest. I'm that's my thing. Honest management. I'm honest. Man, I was a little like, I felt, I was putting the pressure on myself. Like, man, I'm too old to be picking that mic back up. I'm kind of seen. I done all of this and that in the background. Ye was like, no, bro, this is about art. And he said, y'all always made music that help people, and y'all music gonna heal some people, and that's our job right now. He was like, we're gonna heal and help people. It's time for Abstract Mind State to come back, and I want to produce the whole project. Man, it sent chills through my body, after I took some time to understand what was presented to me. So man. So that's another thing that's going on right now.
That's real big.
Yeah,
produced
man. Produced by Ye, man.
Abstract Mind State, y'all. Y'all heard it first. That's real. That's what What's Real all about.
I just let it out the bag. I just let it out the bag. You know what I'm saying?
You're not gonna get in trouble, are you?
No, I'm gonna tell you what's funny. Let me tell you what's funny about it. Because Ye was like, man, have you been letting people hear what the stuff we recording? And I was like, no. He's like, what you doing? You gotta let people hear it. Ye, grab. Ye sound like Ye that was, trying to.
Look, I don't. You know. I keep my ear to the fam. I done heard about it already. I done heard about it.
You knew about it, didn't you?
Yeah, I seen up at Howie's crib one day too. She put me in the mix on a little something about it going down.
Yeah,
So
man.
I'm anxious. I want to hear
man,
it. Yo,
right
you
now,
want to hear it.
It's funny right now. It's funny that we talking about this. We were able to reveal this because it's being mixed right now. Like the album is, finally mixed. Like, and it's the whole Yeezy sound team, man. The same people who do all Kanye stuff is putting their hands and making sure I,
butter.
Butter. You know what I mean? So butter. I mean, it's an interesting thing. I'm gonna have this is what I'm gonna say. Grab Cooley, same thing. Man, I'm just gonna have some fun, man. Like Kanye told me, this is what Ye said. He said, dude, this record, us doing this record together is not about y'all like being some super rappers. He said it's about us putting art out there. We finna put he was smacking me all around with just so much good that I was like, man, you know what? He got me to pick that thing back up, Grab, and I had to do it, man, and that's what we got. So we're gonna put some art out here, man, sometime soon. Abstract is literally back, bro. It's crazy.
That's beautiful. That's a blessing. Beautiful, man. I'm real glad. I'm glad
to hear. I was reading a little thing on the side. Somebody said do a Stu Pastoreways reunion too. I'm gonna tell you what's crazy about that. That's in the works too, because I talked to Kamikaze the other day, and I've been saying for a long time that I was like, it's time for the Stupac to get together, So soon.
What's up too, man?
Yeah, man. Right, you do right. Kamikaze. That's right. Yeah, y'all was on the same label back in the day. Yeah, man. So to the person, Cobra Muhammad, to that person, Stu Pastoreways, we definitely, that's something as the founder of that situation. I'm gonna get with my brother Humdinga and down there in Jackson, who co-founded the crew with me. I'm gonna get with Kamikaze, who was like my closest buddy then, who we really was active in keeping that Stu Pastoreway thing popping. And we're gonna get that reunion thing going, man. And for all those who still healthy and alive, because we lost a couple of members, but all those who healthy and alive, man, we're gonna get together, David Banner, everybody, and we're gonna celebrate, man, the fact that we brought some hip hop from Mississippi that forever changed the landscape. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I love it. Hey, man, that's what we got to do, man. Listen, I want to tell you, brothers, how much I really appreciate y'all, man. Let me just thank the people that chimed in. We had Tracy, Jesse, Colbert. Thank you for chiming in, dropping us a line. There's a lot of people that chimed in and watched it, but these people left a message. But this is the thing, man. Us coming together, just having this conversation, people just don't understand how you guys grew up. You from New York, Grav. You from Chicago. I'm from Indiana. I mean, I'm from Gary's, but I mean, it's right next door to Chicago. Everybody know that. But I just
shout out to Gary, man. We got love.
Hell yeah.
But it's just the fact of it is that the music drawed us all together. Family. It did. It's just real crazy, man. But I appreciate you, brothers, for coming on the show. Now listen, I know our show is normally about 20, 25 minutes. We don't win an hour, but when you vibe it, win 10 minutes.
You should know better. You should know better than to get me on this thing, man.
Definitely know better than that.
You let the good brother Grab come in here too. Yeah. This thing is gonna be 20 minutes.
Exactly. I knew it.
Not at all. Hey, I don't know what you was thinking.
What was he thinking?
Right.
Hey, listen, I knew I had good energy, so I don't care. We could have went. We can go another hour, but hey, we all got live. So, but listen, man, I really appreciate y'all, and I want to appreciate my audience for tuning in today. Listen, you can follow these brothers. Any information, Greg? Give them something that they can follow.
Yeah, so they can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, even Facebook. It's at Olskool, and that's OLSKOOL _Ice-Gre, which is ICEGRE. When you spell Ice-Gre without the whole ats, it's ICE-GRE, but you can't have the hyphens and stuff in there for social media. So at Olskool _Ice-Gre, OLSKOOL.
Okay. Grab, give them some information. They'll see you again, but tell them where they can find you as well.
On Instagram, it's at Gravity Chicago. And then on Facebook, it's, the Drew Kirkland flavor right there. They made me put the government, you dig it. So,
although my government is there, Greg Lewis, you can still put Olskool Ice-Gre and it'll go to my page. So Yeah, so I don't know if that.
You know what? I'm not even sure. I never.
Yeah, you might have to try. It still goes to my page.
I never even tried.
Like,
Yeah.
how did you rig that one? Oh, I forgot. You're Kanye's friend.
I was about to say when you picked up, you got my man Musk on the job. you put mustard on the hot dog. I see you, player.
Hey, listen, we got one more time there. Julie, we appreciate you. Thank you for enjoying us.
Hey, yeah, y'all, she said she enjoyed this. We need more. That's great. Thank you, Julie. Yeah, but hey, man, when you're dealing with higher self, man, I can't say that enough, man. Energy, wavelength, frequency is very important, man. When you got a certain kind of energy, you vibrate on a different frequency.
Yes,
you made a wavelength that's a lot different from your average person. So these are higher self brothers right here, along with myself, man. And Julie, that's what it is. Thank you.
We got what was really dope is to just get through a conversation with brothers, and we're not talking about nothing negative. We're not expounding on just enough points, negative points about whatever's going on or whatever. Let's just we gotta build.
The news is inundating us. We went through the whole conversation and we haven't talked about the thing we dealing with right now.
Exactly.
Man, come on, man. We trying to make some people feel good and get some new information that they probably didn't know. You know what I'm saying? And like the sister Judy Brown said, I'm looking on the side here. She's like, we need more of this. So that's what it's about, man. And what this is, I'm gonna just interpret her words the way I feel. This is just energy, bro. We need more of this.
We do. We need
all it is.
Positive. Like we projected to.
Exactly.
Gentlemen, I appreciate it.
We just proof that energy exists.
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Listen, fellas, I appreciate y'all. Let's celebrate life and continue much success in each one of our careers. And tune in soon. You're gonna see my main man Gravity on here, y'all. What's real? Ice-Gre, Olskool Ice-Gre. We really appreciate you, brother. Do your thing.
Hey, man, thank you for having me. I love y'all dudes,
love
man.
You brothers, man. Love you brothers. You know what it is.
Bro.
All right. Thank you, Jesse Jones. All right, we out.
Right, fellas. Hey, there we go. Lifted that spirit.
Yes,
right,
that's what I'm talking about.
Peace.
Hey, yo, Gre, I'm gonna have to hit you. I need my ears on some of that music. I'm just letting you know. I need whoever watching. I need witnesses that I put it out there. I need that. Give me some of that.
Oh man,
give me some of that.
Hey, before we go, we just chimed in.
All right,
Joe. What up, Gerard?
All right, y'all. We out. Peace.
All right, Joe.
All right, Greasy. Thank y'all for chiming in. What's real? This has been a pleasure to be with Olskool Ice-Gre and Gravity today. I'm hoping y'all absorb some of that positive energy, and we look forward to seeing y'all next week, same time, Thursday. Every Thursday at 6 p.m. What's Real, hosted by me, Waylon Cooley. Thank you, guys. Be blessed, be safe, and we're out. Bam.